Hello, it's Tristyn from the Butler Area Public Library, and welcome to another episode of Mug Mondays, a series where I teach you how to make simple recipes using a mug and a microwave. In this episode, we are going to be learning how to make Thanksgiving in a mug. Thanksgiving is right around the corner, and for anybody that may not be able to celebrate like they normally do, or perhaps they're not going to have all of the fixings that they generally like, this recipe is going to be for you to get into the Thanksgiving spirit.
For this recipe, you're going to need one 5-ounce can of water-packed chunk chicken, and to prepare it, you're going to drain the can and then you're going to shred the chicken. If you are living in a time where canned food is in short supply, then you can also substitute that canned chicken with deli chicken or deli turkey, like I am doing here. The next thing you're going to need is dry, herbed cornbread stuffing mix. I couldn't find cornbread stuffing, but classic stuffing is going to work just fine. The next thing you'll need is a can of mixed vegetables, or any vegetables of your choosing, really. You're also going to need dried cranberries, and you're going to need some water, and then salt and pepper, and then for added spice, I'm going to put some thyme and sage in there. To get started, I am going to shred my deli turkey into the bottom of the mug, and I'm just kind of eyeballing what 5 ounces would be. You can add more turkey, less turkey, it's up to you. Next, I am going to open my stuffing mix, and we're going to add 2/3 of a cup of this stuffing mix. So I'm using 1/3 of a cup, and I'm going to pop 2 of those in there. Alright, now we're going to open our can of mixed vegetables, and you want to drain those, which I've done off camera, and then you're going to take a 1/2 cup of these mixed vegetables. So I'm using a 1/4 cup here, so I'm going to add 2. Added a bit too much there. Okay, now we are going to add 1 tablespoon of our dried cranberries. We're just going to put those on top, nice and festive. And now I am going to season everything. So I'm going to start with a healthy dose of pepper, followed by a nice pinch of salt. And then I'm going to add a dash of ground sage, and then a little fleck of thyme. After all, who doesn't have too much time on their hands these days? Okay, now we're going to go ahead and add a tablespoon of water, because that's what the recipe calls for. However, you are going to find out later in this video that in fact you should add 2 to 3 tablespoons of water, else your mixture is going to turn out a little bit dry. So at this point, I don't know that. So we just went with 1, and we are mixing everything together, as you can see, making quite a mess. And we are just mixing it together until it is well combined and looking like a really colorful, festive stuffing casserole.
Okay, so now that we have made a huge mess in our kitchen, it is time to cook our mixture. So we are going to pop this in the microwave for 1.5 to 2.5 minutes. You want to check it after 1.5 and go from there. So here we go. All right, so 1:30, let's go. All right, it's been 1 minute and 30 seconds. It smells like stuffing. Let's pop in and see what's going on. Okay, so as you can see, the stuffing is starting to moisten a little bit. I'm gonna put it in for another minute, since it said to do 1.5 to 2.5 minutes. and we'll just see what happens. So here we go. All right, so we're 16 seconds away, and this is going to be very important. We want to use this steam to our advantage. It's going to be coming off this, so we're going to be taking a plate, and as soon as we take this out, we're going to be covering it with this plate for 1 minute. Okay? So here we go. Out and cover. Beautiful. Okay, so I'm going to check the cooking timer for 1 minute. Most microwaves have that feature. It'll usually say timer. You can also set your power level to 0 and set your timer that way. And we're ready for the main event. It looks basically the same as when we put it in.
Yay!
All right, let's give it a stir. Okay, it's definitely a lot softer than it was when we put it in. Okay, so it's ridiculously hot. The steam is coming off and burning my hand. So we're gonna give it a few minutes to cool and rest before we give it a taste. All right, so we have our Thanksgiving in a mug. It certainly doesn't look as pretty as a bird and all the sides and fixings around it, but let's see if it tastes like it. Not bad. It's really not bad, but the reason I'm laughing so much is because the recipe only called for 1 tablespoon of water, but I'm gonna recommend that you add 2 or 3 because it's really dry. So, other than that, it's fantastic. The spices are all there, and to me, the thing that tastes the most like Thanksgiving is definitely all the spices that are used. It's pretty good, even with the little bit of dry stuffing. So thank you for joining me for this experimental episode of Mug Mondays. I hope that if you do try this recipe that it is wonderfully successful for you and it brings you all of those warm and fuzzy feelings that you get from the holiday season and Thanksgiving whenever you take a moment to reflect on the things that you have and the things that have happened this year that you are thankful for. So straight from the YA zone of the Butler Area Public Library, I want to wish you happy Thanksgiving, and I will see you in 2 weeks for another episode of Mug Mondays.